We just live in a society where people want instant results, and it's just trained us to not trust the process and actually build sustainable habits.
Hey guys, welcome to the Next Level podcast with Jared and Heather Burnett. What's up, Next Level Nation, all of our Next Level followers out there. We really have something special today. As you know, this is all about helping you go to the next level and everything in life. You know, you can apply that to your business, your job, your relationships, your health. And we think, you know, Heather and I just have this belief that it's all connected, that everything affects everything. You know, life is not compartmentalized when you talk about going to the next level. So what that means is, you know, if you're wanting to earn more income, you know, your health, you can't just neglect your health, because actually taking care of your body and your health is going to impact and have an influence on how much money you make, believe it or not. You know, your potential is so much further to earn more income or be successful in life if you're taking care of your health, and vice versa. When you start to succeed in business, you want to impact your health, but also relationships, your spirituality, your relationship with God. We just believe that, you know, Heather and I have this philosophy that the human being is made up of three things: the mind, the body, and our spirit. Okay. And so that's why we talk a lot about mindset. It's why we talk about health, you know, for your body. And it's why we talk about belief, which is your faith, your spiritual being, who you really are. Because, you know, what we believe is that, you know, you are not your body, you have a body that you live in, and we have to take care of it. So today we're going to be actually focusing on the health side of things and taking care of your body. And we have a special guest on with us today. And, you know, I'll tell you a little bit about him. His name is Joe Walks, and Joe's a retired competitive bodybuilder. He's got over 1 million followers on social media. So he is a social media personality. You definitely want to follow him if you're not already. I'm sure some of our followers are already following Joe if you're in the health and wellness and fitness community. 20 times published model, actor. He coaches people with their functional health. He is a functional health coach. And really what his specialty is helping people transform their body. He is a transformational specialist with your body and your health, male and female. I know that next week he's going out to coach some of the people that he coaches that are in the bodybuilding community. He's a former bodybuilder himself. So welcome, Joe. Thank you for being here. And we're going to just dive in here. I've got a lot of questions. I got a lot of things that I want to ask you.
We're ready for it.
I love it. You know, Heather and I, we like to think of ourselves as healthy people. You know, one of our businesses that we have is health and wellness. And so we like to think that of ourselves as healthy people. You know, we're never perfect. I don't know if you ever achieve perfection when it comes to...
It's a long game.
Right. When you're talking about working out, when you're talking about eating especially, that's the hard one. I don't know if we ever achieve perfection, but we like to think of ourselves as healthy. So, and we try to stay in shape and eat good and, you know, take the right stuff, put the right stuff in our body. But, you know, I guess the first thing that I would ask you, man, and even before I ask you any questions, maybe just tell everybody about yourself, like in your background, and how'd you get into bodybuilding? How'd you get into this whole fitness world?
For sure. Well, first off, thank you guys for having me. I'm very excited to be here and share some knowledge bombs. But kind of just a gist on me. So I kind of played hockey and football my whole life. So I was a multi-sport athlete. And then as I got into high school, I started lifting more with the football guys, started taking in more serious weight training classes. And I'm very competitive. So I fell in love with the process of like seeing my body change so quickly. Because it's obviously, sports are fun. It's like, could I have gone big time? It's like, who knows, you know? God put me on a different part where I started falling in love with weight training more. And then I was transforming. And like I said before, I'm so competitive. So I wanted to go to the next level within that. Because anything I do, trying to be the best at, whether it's business, fitness, whether in a kickball game, you know what I'm saying? Whatever it is at the arcade, I'm trying to be number one. So
ping pong.
Exactly. I will hold the title for sure. So I started building, started getting more into wanting to compete because I just met some kind of trainer when I was younger. I was like, what do I need to do to like get bigger? Because I just wanted to make more progress. Gave me like a super basic meal plan. I'll tell you how crazy it was. Just like literally like 6 times a day, because you know, like the basic bodybuilder style, oh, we eat 6 times a day, craziness. 2 whole sweet potatoes. I'm talking like a normal size sweet potato. Okay. 2 of those and 6 ounces of chicken. I did that 6 times a day as a kid. I just started getting monstrous at 16. So I was going to Aldi, getting all the deals, just having my mom cook, the muscle milk, everything. Started putting on size, started training a little bit more. And that's when kind of social media was kind of getting into more growth where like people started becoming more well known. And I just started to creep into the fitness industry and just see what it's about, start following bodybuilders. Because at first I had no clue about this. I was just a kid that like wanted to go to the NHL or play in the NFL. So it was not my scene to follow. Started following people, and anything with me, I'm like, how do I start making money doing this? Because like I had a feeling like I knew personally, I went to college for a little bit. I knew I wasn't going to go to college, get a degree, or do any of that. I just felt I had a, not necessarily a higher calling, but I knew it was a different calling. And I knew that wasn't going to be my lane because I always felt inside I was going to do something greater kind of on my own and just take the different route from everybody else, kind of just go that Hollywood lifestyle. Like even, you know how they do the senior pictures and everyone holds up their college? Oh, yeah. I held up the Hollywood sign. Because I was trying to go big time. Because like I said, I've been doing this, making videos for so long. But basically got into fitness, got my first sponsor at 17 years old. It was my first ever paid salary contract at a local supplement store, $250 a month. I was like, let's go. Started bringing in some sales because, I mean, with companies nowadays, you're never going to grow or get a paycheck or be worth value unless you can provide value. And obviously, with companies to be endorsed, you need to be able to make them money. That's the only way it can make sense. So I was always doing the social media stuff locally. I guess you could say I was more towards like the popular side. So I had a big mouth. So I was telling everyone, go to the store, buy X, Y, and Z. So promo coding it all. And then that opened the gate for my first major actual supplement company deal with Rule 1 Proteins at 17 years old. I signed with them. My old, I guess you could say like manager, mentor in the very first fitness industry who owned that store, got me connected with them. I broke into the industry that way, started doing expos, all that good stuff. But that came along with competitive bodybuilding. I did my first show at 16, kept competing almost every single year from then, progressing, starting into fitness modeling, the social media stuff. So that's kind of just a little sum of how it got started. But, you know, just creeping in, building my body, knowing I looked good. And then I was like, okay, why don't I just start modeling? Because my mom always wanted to be a model, do all this stuff. Oh, you're a pretty little boy, go take, you know, all that type of stuff. You know how it is. Your mom always looks at you as the best kid in the world. So started going through things that way, and it just started kind of taking off, and I just got a lot of opportunities along the way that I'm very blessed for, and that's kind of brought me to where I am today. And like now, I've basically been in the industry. I'm 24 years old now, almost been in the industry for a decade now. Most people think it just like happens overnight, but it's like I've been bodybuilding to get to this level of physique and the social media stuff for like nearly 10 years. And it's like at that point, people think it just happens overnight, but it's like when you work for something that long, it looks like it happens overnight once everything starts to click. So great opportunities, and that's what brought me here today. So I'm kind of happy to be here.
That's awesome. You know, you mentioned eating sweet potatoes and chicken 6 times. And so, you know, I think what Heather and I have seen is you know, because we've been in health and wellness so long, but not at the level of fitness and competitiveness and training, coaching
it's
others.
The crazy level.
Like what you've done. And so, you know, I've got some things I want to ask you, because I think that in this world of especially fitness and us getting our bodies to where, you know, how we want them to look and burning fat, building muscle, there's so many different opinions. And it seems like there's so many myths out there, I think, that people believe. And there's these overnight gurus that really don't have any science or any that are promoting things and people follow it. When I really believe it's really not all that mystical. There's really some foundational truths that just work.
Absolutely, right? Yeah, the basics.
And so I just want to ask you, you know, what are so I'm sure someone like you see all that kind of crap out there being promoted.
Drives me crazy.
And so why don't you kind of tell us a little bit about what are some of those things that you're seeing? Because I think it changes with the times. 10 years ago, it was this fad or whatever, but what are some of those things you're seeing right now that are either fads or myths that really don't hold a lot of weight?
So I got two. So as you know, you guys see all the social media gurus online on your sponsored Facebook ad that they promote the quick fix crash diet. And the reason we call it a crash diet is because one, they obviously want the results as fast as possible, but that's only going to destroy your body, metabolism, daily habits, and your lifestyle. Because anytime anyone tries to go for a transformation, I want this as quick as possible, what do? They sacrifice everything. They change their diet. They change their lifestyle. 8 weeks later, they're down 20 pounds. They're like, everyone's like, oh, you're looking so good. And then 6 months later, it's like, wait, you're back up 50 pounds. You know what I'm saying? Because these crash diets, we just live in a society where people want instant results and instant gratification in the fastest possible way, even like with business. So that's why it's like everybody just wants it now. They want the new iPhone now. Like people, they want the cars now. They'll do anything. It's just so it's like living in this type of society, it's just trained us to not trust the process and actually build sustainable habits. So two things is like people cutting out their carbs, like, as you know, keto. Yes. Can it be effective? Can it fix people's health problems? Yes, but is it sustainable? No, because most of my life, and I know your guys' life too, we eat carbs, right? On a regular daily basis, and that's what satisfies us, and that's what makes us feel good. And if we don't have energy, we can't perform. And if we're not giving our body the proper energy it needs to perform, it's not gonna change. So like obviously, if you restrict yourself from something for so long when your body was used to taking it, obviously your body's going to change because it's like, what's going on? So you're going to see those quick results, but it's not sustainable. I can personally tell you an experience. My stepdad, John, I've always tried to tell him, he's going to be fine. Shout out John, telling him this story. He did keto for 3 years straight. I think he lost 100 pounds and he was maintaining it for like a year and a half, 2 years, feeling good. He's like, I always tell him, like, let's start implementing some food back in, because obviously when you restrict yourself for so long, your body's down regulated. So like you can't just start eating a whole bunch of food again because you're going to gain weight. You got to slowly keep adding back in calories so your metabolism can adjust and understand what's happening. That's why when people rebound off these diets, they gain so much weight so quick because your body's like a sponge. Even after bodybuilding competitions, I'm sure you've seen people eat all this food, all the cookies, and their body absorbs it all, and they put on like 30 pounds of fat in like a month. And it's easily possible because your system's so downregulated. So it's like, I think the two biggest problems and myths is crash diets, which is like, you can do your paleo. I don't know, intermittent fasting. There's so many like different things to say about it and go into about it. But the most sustainable way is just slowly changing your daily habits, eating healthier, slowly getting more into a routine, and just managing all the variables. When I say variables, sleep, stress, nutrition, activity, all the variables that go into life change. You can't just change them all at once because you're going to be a wreck, or you're going to wreck. Because I know for me personally, if you take away my carbs, it's only going to be a few days till I start acting up. You know what I'm saying? And there's no point too. It's like, this is the biggest thing too. People will go keto for 2 weeks and they're like, oh, I'm ready for a cheat day. They gain 7 pounds of water, but it's like your body's not even in ketosis yet for at least like 3 weeks. So it's like, you're not even doing it properly. So people are just looking for these alternative routes instead of just doing the work that just goes slow and steady this way instead of this, just straight linear. It's not always linear. It's going to take time, and it takes a while to build a sustainable habit. Like even for me, it's hard to be disciplined. It's hard to wake up every day and do the stuff that you don't want to do, but that's what makes you better, and just being patient with the process. But like I said, the quick fixes and crash diets and keto is just never sustainable and never optimal for obviously a healthy life. Because how are you going to eat out and have fun? It's like, you're never gonna if you're doing it this way. So that's one of the sacrifices you're making.
Mm-hmm. You look good, but you can't leave the house because you can't trust yourself around food.
Exactly. You act up, low energy, don't feel good, start fighting with people because you don't got carbohydrates in you.
Yeah, I know if on periods of time where, I'm gonna get, I'm gonna drop, and I'm pretty lean guy, but I want to tighten up. I'm about to go on a cruise. I want to be able to see my abs. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to just restrict all carbohydrates. And what I've seen with me personally is, if I just completely restrict carbs, my brain is not even working functionally. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So what you're saying is trust the process. develop the habit. And it almost sounds like, the same advice that Heather and I give people when they're starting out in business, because we see people do things in business. We've had people in our business we've worked with that, I call them a flare. Like they shoot out, all fast and bright. Everybody sees it. And then like tomorrow they're gone. They've gone into the witness protection program. You can't
Because they burn out.
They burn out. And so what you're saying is it's really the same, that's a principle that completely applies to our health, transforming our body, especially long term.
Yeah, because what I say is everything starts obviously mind, body, spirit. But if you can't have daily discipline, let's just say to make your bed, to take out the garbage, keep your house clean, or like follow a structured diet, because it's like, if you say you want to transform, do whatever it takes, I assume you're going to do whatever it takes. But when it gets hard, you start backing off, or you lose that motivation, you lose that discipline. It's the same thing. You're always going to face that obstacle and that traffic cone in life, and you can't go around. You have to work through it. So just taking the time to be patient with the process, because it's like no good healthy transformation in any sort, whether it's fitness or with like business, it's not going to happen that quick. There's going to be ups and downs. It's never going to be linear, and it's always going to be like this going up. So you just have to kind of face that and just understand. You have to learn and grow through the errors. Like that's why I love problems. I love pain. I love when, I guess, negative things happen, because you also have to change your mindset so that you can use it as learning lessons. You have to go through the trial and errors to get better. Otherwise, if your journey was just perfect, it's like, I don't think it will be sustainable. Like your success can be perfect, but like what's at the end? So it's just kind of finding that way to maintain it, so you're always satisfied.
You said something that really spoke out to me, because this is a proven principle in business and in financial side of success. Is you said that, first off, you said we got to trust the process and develop the habits, but that you have to be willing to even make some mistakes and be okay with that.
Yes.
And I think there's a lot of people out there that they fear messing up so much. There's a lot of people out there, they have such of this fear of, I got to do it right. I got to do it perfect. And so either they never start, or they mess up one time and they quit. And I'm like, no, what I've seen is the most successful people in life in the business world, they're not afraid to screw up. They're not afraid to try something and completely look like a fool. And be like, you know what? We tried that. It didn't work. Let's try something else. And they keep going. And so you're saying, if we apply that even to our fitness and our health, that trying these habits and having that mindset of, hey, it's okay if I screw up.
Absolutely. 100%. Because I always say this, at some point, it's like, if you're not, I wouldn't say, there's a lot of different things of being in shape. Let's just say you're 50 pounds overweight, you could be healthy and feel good, but it's like, maybe not mentally, you don't like your self-image. So it's like, what is healthy to you? You know what I'm saying? At some point, if you don't have your body in check and your mind and how you feel about yourself, that's going to affect you at some point, whether it's now or later in your journey. That's why I always say, no matter what you're doing, it's always good to work on yourself first. I always say, like, after people split up in relationships or break up, it's like, just focus on yourself. It's like, that should have been the root, because if you love yourself and you worked on yourself and you know you're confident in all of your abilities and your body and what you're doing, and you actually love yourself, that alone will take you to the next level and make the rest of the process easier, because you understand what it took just to get to that point. Because like I said, if you're comfortable with yourself and you feel good, it's like you can endure anything because you understand it's a part of the process. And that's what it took in order to get you to where you are, you know?
What do you think about, there's all these concepts out there that people are throwing around and ideas. And what do you think about this whole idea of intermittent fasting?
So I think intermittent fasting, like, yes, it can be good for health reasons, but I always say most people look at intermittent because we're talking broad spectrum. Right. People think intermittent fasting, I'm going to eat less just so I can lose more weight, be fasted longer, just minimize my calorie window just so it makes it easier not to snack. And I'm going to just stick myself to this structure because it's going to help overall. But I think when it comes to intermittent fasting, they like the idea, but I don't think it's healthy, just because when we do it, people want to shorten their window of eating. And it's like for most people, they eat, and I kind of talked to you earlier, people graze throughout the day. But when these people just set a time window, they can have somewhat more of a structure, which is good for that person. But most of the time, it's damaging your metabolism, lowering your thyroid production because people undereat. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like, if you were to take the actual amount of food that your body needs in a day for your specific goal, trying to jam that in what, six to 8 hours is not optimal because one, you're still working, you still got your daily life, you're working out, so that takes some time. So it's like, you're never going to get that calorie goal that you actually need unless, once again, you're eating super low food for somewhat reason. So it's just not an optimal approach.
So is it, would you even say it's harder on the digestive tract?
Yeah. If you're going to do it properly
in a small window,
if you're going to do it properly, just because your body won't be able to digest, because let's just say if you weigh 150 pounds and you're pretty lean how you are, and you want to build more muscle tissue, you need to make sure you're consuming the right amount of protein. So for you to try to jam in like 8 ounces of meat in these meals, I mean, if you put 8 ounces of meat on a scale, you're going to be full. Protein is more saturated into your stomach, so it takes longer to digest and your body needs it. So it's like jamming the proper amount of nutrients in that time window, it is just way too much a process where it's not going to be optimal. You know what I'm saying? Because like for you to consume 100 grams of protein a meal, you don't need to consume. Your body won't really process that much. Yeah, you can digest and be utilized, but is it being utilized efficiently? It's just like taking products. If people take certain like fat burning products in different times of the day that are meant to be used fasted, it's not going to be optimal. You're kind of wasting your money, kind of wasting your food. So that's why if you're going to diet or have any sort of plan, you want to do it with purpose and intention. So that's why I think fasting is good. Like if you want to lose weight and just have some sort of structure, no matter what structure's going to improve your life, and you're obviously not following anything whatsoever, I'm sure it will help you lose weight. And if you could stick with it, great. But I think most people do it wrong, and I make a lot of videos on it just because people like the idea and they like the concept, but they don't really know what it is or how to actually do it. So it's not really helping themselves to the full extent, if you get what I'm saying.
Yeah. No, I get it, man. So it seems to me like eating more often, more frequent meals. And I hear people talk about this, that because look, I've seen every fad diet out there, and yes, people lose weight and then they gain it back. And so, but the people I see that develop a discipline, I think, in my opinion, that I've seen more successful than anything else is eating multiple times a day, smaller meals throughout the day, and spreading those calories out throughout the day.
And you're exactly right. Just because your metabolism is like a campfire. The more you add wood, the bigger the fire grows and the quicker it goes. But when you stop adding wood, that fire dies down and it gets slower. So these people that don't eat for 10 hours a day, your metabolism's so slow, and that's why you eat, you get so full and you're like, oh, I can sit here for a while, because it's, you know how long it's going to take for you to digest that food. That's why you wake up still bloated from that huge meal you ate the night before, because your metabolism's slow. So I always think people get it wrong. They always say diet. No one should be following a diet, because diet sounds like restriction, or it's like, I'm going on a diet. It's like, no, I'm just trying to lose weight. I'm going to change my habits around, create more structure and sustainability within my lifestyle. You know what I'm saying? No one should ever be following a diet, because like, I don't like following a diet, but it's like, let's just say if you're doing some crazy preparation for something, a movie acting role or a competition, right, it's like, sure, you're going to have to go on a diet, but no human that just wants to lose weight should go on a diet, because everything should be delivered in moderation. So your breakfast, lunch, dinner, and snack should not change just because you want to lose weight. It's just making healthier choices, having the actual proper portion sizes you should be eating so that you can create more sustainability. Because we don't eat steak, rice, and chicken and vegetables because, oh, we're just doing it to eat healthy. It's like, no, it's like we like that food and it's healthy food, and that's a part of our lifestyle, because nutrition and living a healthy life and having balance is all about choice. You know, like we have to sacrifice certain things to have other things. So if we're eating out later, we know it's gonna be a big meal, we're obviously going to choose the healthier choices, because we know that's the best way to have sustainability within this lifestyle. Because you can't, everything's pick and choose. So I think the best way, I mean, let's just say if we're trying to lose weight or just feel better about ourselves, is slowly changing our habits. And I know we talked about like sleep, steps, activity, nutrition. These are the main pillars in your lifestyle that change your habits. So I tell people, I'm not trying to help you lose all this weight in 6 weeks. I'm trying to help you gather all the habits and the lifestyle needed to lose weight for the rest of your life and maintain a body you love. Because it's like, we're not, oh, we better lose. I mean, when people say, I want to lose 70 pounds in 6 months, it's like, is it possible? I'm like, yeah, but we're going full throttle with no off days, like perfection. It's like, that's not attainable. So you have to set realistic expectations for yourself, because we're not in this for quick results. Like most people are, but when they understand they can have moderation, eat their favorite foods, and just slowly, I mean, losing 2 to 3 pounds a week is great. So, I mean, if you can lose 2 to 3 pounds a week, having one cheat meal and date night a week and just making healthy choices, eating food you want, it's like, I would much rather choose that option rather than losing 5 pounds a week, sacrificing everything I love.
Yeah, it reminds me of the time when, when Heather and I years ago were first kind of learning a lot about nutrition and how to eat, and not just from a fitness perspective. We were really starting to get educated on health and, certain things and chemicals that are in our food. And we all know that the American food supply is just probably one of the worst as far as developed nations on the planet. And so we know that, and all of us know that. And we still even make some of those food choices. Sometimes we know we shouldn't really like. But I remember at one point, Heather and I, we had come back from a conference where we had heard someone speak on health, and we were like, okay, we're going to get wrecked. Mm-hmm. And we're like, we're going.
But that's because you were ready.
Right.
You were just you're like, I'm ready to commit to the process.
But the problem was, you talk about it's unsustainable. So when you go extreme, and so like we were like, okay, we're going to hire a full-time chef, and we were at a point where we were making enough money we could do that. We hired a full-time
trainer,
chef, trainer, but like the big on the food. We were like, okay. And this girl came into our house, and then she cleaned everything out of the fridge, cabinets. We're talking spices, you name it.
Where you're sneaking at the gas station.
And she goes to Whole Foods, and like, $3,000, $5,000 later, comes back, restocks everything. And we were like, we want all paleo, keto, like we're no sugar. Like we went extreme. Well, here's what we noticed was, like, after a period of time, you're like, this is not sustainable. Yes, we want to make healthy food choices. Yes, we want to develop good lifestyle habits, but it got to a point where we were like, we literally can't do this every day for the rest of our lives.
Function properly. It really does minimize your quality of life. And that's why most people are just content with not being in a body they love, because like they don't want to sacrifice it. But that's what the misunderstanding is. People think they have to sacrifice because all the way the world is like popularized. Oh, it's like a diet. You're going to lose weight quick. But it's like, no. Like I have clients that eat like Philly cheesesteak for dinner, a homemade burger and fries. It's like, you eat good food. You just do it the smart way with the proper portion sizing. You don't need to be extending your stomach to the absolute max every day at dinner, only eating once a day. It's like just doing things the most smart way. Cause it's like, you can pretty much like the Chipotle we ate before this podcast. Yeah, we ate Chipotle. It's like, you can fit that into your daily calories and still enjoy yourself. So you just have to, I always tell people, you have to learn the game and be in the game to understand it. You know what I'm saying? If you're an outsider, it's like, if you don't get into play, you're never going to understand how to win. Right. So that's why you have to do it or go through anything to be good at and to mentor anyone or help anyone. Because if you haven't done it yourself, how are you going to teach someone how to do it and say you've done it? That's why I always say, even when it comes like when I do coach bodybuilder and stuff, if you've never done it to the full extent, and I mean to the full extent in every possible gauge firing, it's like, how are you going to tell someone or teach them how to feel or do this? It's like, you have to be in the game to know the game.
100%, man. So you talked about some of these habits, steps, water, sleep, and then I know we're going to get to this. We were talking about grazing and snacking earlier. So, and that's kind of, let's tackle that first, because I kind of feel like that would be, my Achilles heel when it comes to
sleep.
No. Snacking and grazing. When it comes to like transforming and really getting my body in the fitness and shape and the body fat percentage that I want to be at. I feel like grazing and snacking is probably the biggest enemy. So do you think that's the case with probably a lot of people?
Yeah, because as you know, in America, whatever we call a snack is potato chips, nuts. And like I said, nuts and all this stuff, like it's healthy fats, but you got to remember it's still high fat. So it's like a lot of people, they don't have like a structure. They don't know how much protein. Most people don't track anything about nutrition. They'll just like eat healthy and make proper choices. And what that means is they're eating a complete different calorie count every single day of their life. So there's no stability or structure like whatsoever. So therefore,
interesting.
If you're grazing all day, it's usually super high fat foods. And you notice when you go out, I call it on a bender, when you're going out for the weekend or on vacation, you're just eating like crap on the cruise, burgers, it's all high fat. And the high fat is what slows down your digestion. And obviously the more fat you consume, the easier it is to put on body fat. That's why most diets are like lower fat diets, moderate carbs, because we need carbs to perform, and a good amount of protein to build muscle, increase your BMR, different stuff like that. But I think grazing kills just because, one, the food never truly digests. And I mean, if 2 times an hour you're going to grab a handful of nuts, I mean, which you'll feel full. Because I know like a few years ago, I guess Nicole had these almonds in the pantry, and I'm like, they're just so good and salty. And I would grab handfuls every few hours, and I'm like doing all this exercise because I wasn't tracking at the time. I was just trying to like find a good balance, and I was actually doing low carb too. It was just a crazy time. And I was going through the same thing that most of us have done that I'm teaching not to do. And I'm like, I'm looking so watery, and like, I feel so full. And I'm like, holy crap. I looked at the almonds. I'm like, I'm consuming like 25 grams of fat twice an hour because of the handfuls I was grabbing, where it's like, that is what will kill your progress. And I always say, if you have time to snack, you have time to have a meal. And most people who are super busy, they say, oh, I don't have time to eat a meal. I'm always on the go. But it's like, they do have time. They just don't know how to form a meal that's quickly able to be eaten or drinking within that time. Like I work with a bunch of nurses, and obviously you're always on the go, or like physical therapists, always on the go working with clients where you're in person. But it's like, of course you don't have time to sit down and eat a chicken and rice meal with vegetables right now. It's not ideal. But I always ask them, do you drink water like at work? And they always say, well, of course. And I'm like, why can't you drink like a blended smoothie that you brought to work that you kept in the fridge that you're just sipping while you're working with a client that's going to get actually staying on track, getting a full meal instead of just creating unhealthy habits like through grazing, just because grazing's fun and all, but it's just not optimal for the lifestyle or body you want. That's why I always tell people, if you just eat a well-balanced meal like 3 times a day, it's like, you're going to be in shape. Your body, your digestion is going to be in check. You're not under eating. You're keeping yourself fueled. You have energy throughout the day. So I just think there's much better ways, and grazing, it's like, that'll kill you. Grazing will kill your body.
And you know, I was having a discussion with a guy a couple months ago that he's a buddy of mine, former bodybuilder, and he's kind of a protein coach. He's an expert on different types of proteins and amino acids. And we were talking about snacking, and he was telling me that like snacking and the food that's sold now for snacks, like that 98% of it didn't even exist prior to like 1980. And so I'm a little bit older than you, as you know, Heather and I are. And, you know, we're kids that grew up in the 80s. And I actually remember the TV commercials when these snack foods were very first even coming on the market.
What are they?
Because, I mean, just all the different junk foods that we talk about. Like, but when I was young, like, I remember a snack was an apple or a little box or a box of raisins, or it was very simple. But now in our country, it's like probably when we go up and down the grocery store aisles, probably more than half of the food in there is snack food.
Yeah, they got like
Peanut butter crackers.
Exactly. Cinnamon Toast Crunch Oreos. It's like, who put this, or Jolly Rancher Oreos, like who put this thing together? It's like, it's definitely the way our health is going in a different direction. But for you guys, just because I don't know your guys' routine, because obviously you both are great individuals that kill it at business and have a great life, great family life. So what do you two do to keep your healthy like fitness lifestyle in check? Because obviously you don't maintain bodies like this not doing anything.
That's right. And so first off, I would say we're, you know, because people see us and they see that we're in shape relatively. Not, I don't think any of us ever get to where we like really want to be. Are you that way too? I mean, well,
your potential's endless. So it's like everyone has body dysmorphia. So you think you look a lot worse than you do. And we all just set unrealistic expectations. So it's like, we're never going to be happy with the way we look, but we can be content with the way we look. But no, I get what you're saying.
Yeah. So, you know, so one of the, really for me, it's lifting weights. Okay. So I enjoy lifting weights, and it's, you know, I try to lift a minimum 3 to 4 times a week. I like to go for a walk. So I'm not, you know, it's kind of funny because I used to think running or not even running, but jogging was really healthy for me. And then I read an article on it, and it was like, look, if you can get your heartbeat up just with a brisk walk, it's easier on your knees. So I like to go for a walk for, a mile or two and break a sweat, get my breath going, get my heartbeat up a little bit. And it's actually good for me mentally, for stress relief. Then I'll lift weights, and, we've been traveling a lot the last 6 months. Heather and I, we have busy schedules. So even if I don't always get in there, 3 or 4 days a week, I at least try to get in there 1 or 2 times a week, lift weights, go for a walk, where, Heather does a good job of buying groceries. And, so many people just eat out for almost all their meals nowadays. And so, one of the things that is important to Heather as a family is that we sit down and eat together. And so she, and so as far as cooking, it's usually some type of lean protein, maybe some roasted vegetables, a carbohydrate like rice, potatoes, sometimes some pasta, but that's not all the time. We have kids. So the reality is, like, maybe you're watching this, you and say, wow, you guys are in great shape. They must eat perfect. They must work out every day. We're not perfect. So we still eat a cheeseburger, but it's probably going to be a Five Guys burger, not McDonald's. It's, what I'm saying? We're going to have a pizza. The best but it's going to be, if we order a pizza with our kids, it's going to be from a local pizza joint where they made that dough fresh ingredients. We're not ordering Domino's. You know what I mean? So we just have a belief that if you're going to eat some of those foods, it needs to be as healthy and fresh as possible, not the super high processed type food. So I don't know, maybe you want to share your routine and kind of what you do.
As a busy mom too, just because I'm sure there's going to be a lot watching you.
Yeah.
Because that's what I was telling Heather earlier today, like, talking about our bodies are never where we want them to be. And I said, babe, you're like at your age, and I don't know if she's going to share her age, but I'm like, I don't know any Hollywood celebrities that look as good as you do at your age that have had kids, that have like had children. Heather's had 3 kids, and we have one active, and it's an active mom. So like she's amazing. So maybe you want to share kind of your routine.
I'm 31. No, not really. I'll be 49 in December. So I have followed the same workout girl. She's a social media girl for about a decade. And I think, every time you say habits, I'm just, yes, because I love, I am a structure, routine, habit. I could eat the same thing. I do. Great. Whenever we go out to eat somewhere, I have I know what I eat at this place. I know what I eat at that place. I know. And so, I get up in the morning, get some caffeine, some supplements in my body. I like to have a protein shake for breakfast. As soon as I get the kids out the door for school, I like to go work out. I usually work out 5 days a week is the goal. Not when we've been traveling, but 5 days a week. I do lift weights. I've had seasons where I ran, but
that's how you feel.
Yeah. I do like I love the mental feeling of running. Endorphins. I really love that. But it's just gotten harder on my body. So I'm kind of trying to work it in a little. I'm thinking when we travel, I may run a little more, but so I like to do lift for about 5 days a week. And then I just try in every situation, because I could live a very structured, meal plan.
You're fine with it.
And we could do that. But that doesn't work for a 5-year-old, a busy husband, and a 16-year-old, and other kids coming home from college. That just doesn't work. And so that just adds stress and misery to me, because I'm stressed out that all these people don't fit into my schedule. And so what I've learned to do is just in the moment, do the best I can with what we can, And so sometimes we might eat tacos from the food truck at soccer, because we know that when we get home, we have a Zoom right after and there's no time to eat. But then I'm going to make up for it the next day.
She's choosing steak tacos or corn tortillas,
something lean.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
So, and one thing that I have learned is I think women, and please correct me if I'm wrong, but I think women think, well, if I lift weights, and do weight bearing activity, I don't want to get all, and
bulky.
That's not going to, that's just not going to happen. I mean, I lift heavy amount of weights for my age and for my size. But you want to be defined, you want to look good, and I want to be strong. I mean, I have a 24-year-old that doesn't necessarily need me to be strong, but I have a 5-year-old that's really heavy and needs to be picked up sometimes. So I got to pick that little guy up. And so I love the habits thing, because I feel like that is like the secret sauce to most struggles, whether it's nutrition, whether it's business, whether it's your relationship. It's the little habits, just like this is kind of off subject, but it's just the habit thing of like when your spouse comes home from work, whoever's home gets up and goes over and says, hey, I'm glad you're home. Mm-hmm. Like that's a little habit, but when it's not done, it screams a really loud message. And I just think habits are so important. And when you start putting those habits into place, it's hard. It causes friction in the beginning, but before you know it, it's just how you live. Yeah. It's how you live. And so building the habits though that will fit in your lifestyle, like there's not a cookie cutter, right? Like you can't just develop a program and just say this will work for everyone in this amount of days, because nobody's life is the same.
Absolutely.
But healthy habits work for everyone.
I heard Arnold Schwarzenegger, probably the greatest bodybuilder of all time, arguably, but I think so. Legend. And someone was asking him about right now at his age, you know, he's getting up there, and he was talking about going, I'm traveling here, and once I check in, I'm going to hit the gym and I'm going to lift. And they were like, well, do you have a purpose or a goal of what you're lifting for? And his response was, he goes, no, it's just who I am. So it's been such a habit for him that it's just who I am.
It's uncomfortable not to.
Because if you do something for so long, I mean, it's like, what are you going to fill that time with? I mean, that's kind of purpose in life. It's like when people feel like they lose their purpose or change directions, they feel lost. And because it's like something that was majorly in your life, you're like putting aside that maybe should stand. It's like that's when it comes to working. It's like, no matter what, you're going phases of like where you're going really hard. And some days you're just not motivated. You're going through the motions. But all that matters is that you still show up and you do it because that's something you do in your normal routine. At the end of the day, that's what's going to keep you alive, is exercising your heart and body. It's like, so that's why it's the most important thing out of anything in life. Business, I mean, this should come before everything else.
This, like, I know, Heather and I have been married for 26 years now. And, this is for all of you guys listening, that, because I hear a lot of people make excuses about their partner or their spouse or whatever. They're like, well, if my spouse would work out or if they would do this, then I'll do it. Yeah. And really, that's just an excuse, because here's what I can tell you is absolute truth over the last 26 years, because it's human nature to backslide or fall in a rut with your workouts or habits or eating. That's going to happen. And so in 26 years of marriage, I can tell you this is absolute truth. Every time that one of us is not doing the disciplines for our health with eating or working out at the level that we should, and one of us takes action and says, you know what, I'm working out, I'm getting my habits, my workouts, I'm eating right, it inspires the other person.
Someone's got to keep going.
And then you're either going to sit around and look lazy
or get back
or you're going to get with the program. And so I would just tell people listening, like, don't let your spouse, significant other, whatever, be an excuse for you not to take care of your health. Because all of us are responsible for ourselves, and at the end of our lives, we don't get to point the finger and say, well, I wasn't healthy because my spouse. Yeah. No.
Well, and I even think as a parent, I feel like, and I've said this before, I said this on one of the other podcasts too, but like when I first started working out, it was because our boys were getting to the age where they were going to be in sports and they were needing to start working out. And so I was just kind of like going to do it too and set an example. But I do think like as a parent, and I'm not trying to be judgmental towards anyone that doesn't see this, maybe whatever, but I just feel like as a parent, like I need to show my kids that I'm worth taking care of.
This is the way of life.
Yeah.
Because I always tell people, someone that's unhealthy, especially a parent, you're a liability to your family. And if you're gone, who do they got? Mm-hmm. I actually use that a lot, because it's like, you can keep postponing this, but the more you postpone it, you're a liability for your own children. Because it's like, you're the leader. they're going to do by action, not by what you say. And they know that. They're not stupid. They know exactly if you're working out, what you're doing, if you're taking care of yourself. And it's like a lot of moms and just parents in general, there's two things. Because one, some spouses, as you guys know, in the game, I mean, some people put down their other spouses because like one will start looking good, they start losing weight, where it's like, that should not be the way. It's like, even if some doesn't support it at one time, they're going to realize where it's like, wow, my spouse is feeling better, looking better. I should feel happier. And then they start catching on. Because a lot of the thing is, I work with, like I said, busy mom and dads, but when one starts to change, the other one jumps on the bus later on. Because it's like, dang, her lifestyle's changed. She's eating so much better. She's looking better. It's like, well, I'm not going to sit here and not do anything. So once someone sets the tone for, I guess, the relationship and the way you want life to move, it's like everyone has to be a part of the mission in order to experience, like I say, get to the next level. Everyone has to be on the same page. So like I said, I always think it's good for someone to be a leader within this and to set the tone so everyone can move forward together.
So I guess one of my last questions I'd have for you, Joe, is, the people that are listening to this, that, it's John Doe, average American dad bod. He's used to, after dinner, sitting on the couch, popping a couple cold ones, and just, that's his pattern, that's his habit. And he's like, you know what? I'm ready to get in shape. I'm ready to lose this. I want to be strong for my family. I want to get in shape. Or the mom as well. The typical American mom, she's had a couple kids and says, you know what? I'm not happy with my body. And I know what I want for myself and my health. Where do they start? What is your advice? Because you work with people every day doing this. What is the starting point?
I would say, so I'm going to give you guys an exact blueprint. So anyone watching, this can be a basic blueprint that anyone can follow. And I guarantee if you're someone that has no structure at all, you don't really work out, you don't do anything, you can lose 20 pounds in the next 2 to 3 months easily, just because one, your body's be like, whoa, what's going on? But you're forming good habits and you're doing the right thing. So I'm gonna go over the blueprint first and then kind of dumb it down. So I would say, obviously, you need to track what you're doing. Because if you don't track what you're doing, you got no idea what you're doing. And then you're guessing. And when it comes to your body and transforming, you can't guess. We gotta know what we're doing. So first thing is first, we'll start with activity. I think everyone should track their steps, because knowing how active you are is going to be a wake-up call. So I don't know if you guys have, I don't wear an Apple Watch just because I know my daily routine now. I've done it for years. But I always have people get a step tracker, whether it's an Apple Watch or just a normal step tracker, and go throughout a week and let's see how many steps you average per day if I don't make you do anything. So then we can see how little you actually walk or how much you actually walk. Because some people walk a ton, but they don't eat. They're just, everything else is crash, where it's like, this is not gonna be beneficial. But I think if you walk 8 to 10,000 steps a day, that is absolute money, where that is plenty activity where you could be burning fat like no other. 10,000 steps a day is even better.
Europeans.
Yeah. Yes.
They're all walking and they're all skinny.
Yep.
We just got back from Greece and everybody's skinny because they're walking.
Yes. Less transportation, more exercise. I love it.
And that's the thing. I always tell people, if you got time to scroll, you got time to walk. And that's the biggest thing. Whenever you're bored and find yourself on the couch, it's like, let's go on a walk, because 5 minutes of walking is better than none. And 5 minutes of walking, you'll get anywhere from 800 to 1,200 extra steps. So it's like, it will go a long way, and walking actually comes quick, where it's not that much work, but it really benefits exercise. Second is water intake. Everyone should be drinking at least a gallon of water per day. I say for women, I always say 80 to 100 ounces bare minimum, just because women, sorry Heather, are very known for not drinking any water. So you hang out with a group of guys.
I'm a good water drinker.
Yeah. If you hang out with a group of guys though, everyone's always pounding water. It's just like, I'm so thirsty. But if you hang out with the girls all day, it's like, there's not one water bottle anywhere. No one's drinking water yet. So 80 to 100 ounces for women, and I'd say at least a gallon per day for men, just because 80% of your body is water. You need to function, feel better, more energy. You'll sleep better, help digest food better. You won't hold as much water retention with all the sodium you eat. So water is a good bang for your buck.
Beer and Coca-Cola doesn't count, right?
Correct.
So I would say
if you're in the game new, count the soda, maybe a little black coffee, but aim to just drink your water, And then second is start tracking your calories. And I always tell people, obviously there's different ways to calculate how fast your metabolism is. But if we're just talking a very basic normal human, take your body weight and multiply it by 13. And that's going to give you around your body's maintenance calories for how much you should be eating per day to maintain the way you look. So that'll help you maintain, and you eat a good amount of food. But if you want to lose weight, I would start by subtracting like 300 to 400 calories from there. So let's just say maintenance is 2,300 calories. Subtract 300 to 400, we're going to be at 1,900, 2,000. So then if you're drinking a gallon of water per day, you're eating 2,300 calories per day, and you're getting your steps, you will guarantee to start losing weight. And the other little add-ons, obviously, make sure you're getting your good sleep so you can keep stress low, keep you feeling good. That'll help your progress a ton. Sleep's a major...
How many hours do you feel like we need?
I mean, I say if you want to get by, you'll make progress if everything else is perfect, 6. But that's the absolute bare minimum. But if you want to be in the money zone, 7 to 10. I mean, I sleep like 9 to 10 hours a day because it's like I need to function my best and feel good. It's like, of course we all can function off lower sleep, but are we going to be our best self and bring that best self to the table every day if we're not fully rested, which we're not? And if we want our body to respond properly, we need to make sure we're giving its proper rest, especially if you're working out, weight training, all this other stuff. So to summarize it, 8 hours of sleep, a gallon of water per day. We'll start tracking your calories by finding that body's maintenance. I'd say subtract 300 to 400 calories where you could start losing weight. And then I'd make sure eat close to your body weight in protein. People don't know protein is one of the key missing factors because like there's different ways to go about nutrition. Like people, they track their calories. Like tracking your calories is a start to like weight loss. They say if you want to lose weight, track your calories. If you want to build muscle and lose weight, track your calories and your protein. If you want to completely transform, track your macros, protein, carbs, fats. Have the exact dial down so that when we pivot and maneuver these numbers, we can see that change happening, adjusted based on your metabolic rate, the way your body responds, based on how much fatigue you experience throughout the week. So it's like, for someone like that's just starting versus like Heather, weight training 5 days a week, I mean, her metabolism is way quicker than someone else. So like at her level now, I mean, she can be very precise where dialed in, where easily get to the next level. But for someone just starting that just wants to get in a little bit and start feeling better, losing weight, just track your calories and you can keep going in from there. But no matter what, you need the basic pillars to success. Start taking in consideration your water, your steps, your sleep, your nutrition, and your exercise. If you work out 3 days a week with weights, lifting weights will burn more calories, you'll feel better, but you're going to build muscle. You're not going to get bulky. Building muscle will make you tighter and more toned, and the more muscle you have, it'll help you burn more calories at rest doing nothing. So that's why people always say weight training over being a cardio bunny. You're getting more bang for your buck, and if you're someone that doesn't have a lot of time, do the smart decision, transform your body easier. Because the last thing I say with training, just because we didn't say it too much, but people underestimate training. Like if you don't follow a diet whatsoever or do any of that and you train hard, your body will consistently change because you're breaking down muscle tissue, you're training with a purpose. So if you apply all those pillars and the habits into training hard, your body will constantly change absolutely daily. So just making sure you apply a strong stimulus with training and not just going through the motions. Because a lot of people think, oh, like high reps, tone. It's like, no, you need to push yourself to true failure, muscle failure, to get to that next level so we can get further within that process and get enough stimulus to actually grow. But like I said, I mean, this goes in forever, but I think that's a good basis for anyone to start and learn just to get going.
And you haven't said anything here that is radical. You haven't said anything in here that is, you know, you have to restrict this and get crazy and all that. These are basic, simple things. And I just think that translates so much how what we talk about here on Next Level is everything's connected. You know, mindset, health, belief, mind, body, spirit, everything affects everything. And it's the same principles in business. Is you don't, you know, it's not these radical, you know, people are all, in my business, I say people are always looking for the silver bullet. Mm-hmm. You know, in your business, it's they're looking for, you know, something that can just take one pill and solve all the problems.
Exactly.
Everything. I'm going to gain muscle. I'm going to.
But there is there's a magic pill to both of them, though. You know what it is? Right. It's the pillars right here. That's the magic pill.
That's right. It's the pillars. And so, and I even say a lot of times I use the term slow down to speed up, which is slow down and quit trying to do all these crazy things and focus on the fundamentals. And you said it, habits and trust the process. Yep. You know, habits and trust the process. And we're living in a culture today that is completely against that. It's microwave society. It's I want it now or else I quit, and so if people can understand that if you can trust the process and develop habits, you're going to win. You're going to go to the next level. And all you have to do is tell yourself that, put your head down and stay on that path and you're going to surprise yourself and you're going to end up outshining so many other people in life. And the reason why is because people are distracted with all the quick fix things, whether it's making money, whether it's health, it's the start stop. They're not bought into trusting the process and developing these habits.
Lack of patience. And that's what kills people.
Well, I was going to say too, because like these are so simple, but I can like think of people being like, I've tried that. Okay, well, that's great that you've tried it, but why don't you try with sticking to it? Why don't you try to do it and just say, instead of like, well, I'm trying to lose weight, so I'm going to do this. Why don't you just say, I'm going to do this because it's good for me. And even if I don't ever lose weight, I'm just going to trust the fact that I'm doing things for my body that are good for me and see where that goes. Because I know, like, we all go up and down. I mean, I have seasons where it's like 5 days a week is easy, and sometimes I do 6 and 7 and everything's great. And then I have seasons like the last couple months where I'm like struggling to get 3 and 4 is like a huge week and I'm not happy with where I am. But the thing is, I know, like yesterday I didn't have enough time to finish, and it like literally is physically
angers you.
Like I'm like literally like, should we just cancel the dentist appointment so I can finish my workout, or should I take the kid to the dentist? I'm not really sure at this point what would be more beneficial. But I'm like, do what you can do. Don't give up. Do what you can do today. Tomorrow's a new day. Just don't stop.
Absolutely.
You nailed it. So key point, consistency we're coming up with. Because that's what I'm saying. If you're not consistent, you won't trust the process and you won't live the lifestyle.
That's it. Well, Joe, thank you so much for being on here today. Guys, you can follow him. We'll drop links in the comments here on the podcast and wherever this is posted on social media, YouTube, all of that. But your website is bodybywachs.com, and that's WACHS, bodybywachs.com.
Yes, sir.
Thank you for being on, brother.
Thank you. I'm excited.
Thanks, Joe.
You guys were awesome. We'll see you guys in the next episode.